Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to go through all the Blu-rays and DVDs that I've got in the month of May. So quite a lot of movies to get through. I'm going to try and get through them as quick as I can. So the first movie that I picked up is Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell. I watched this when it first came out and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. I would put this on par with House of a Thousand Corpses. But for me, the best is still Devil's Rejects. That one's still the best movie he's done in my opinion. This one was pretty decent. I liked it. I liked the 70s feel to it. Not too sure what the Firefly family can do after this. I felt as if they'd sort of done everything that they could do. But we'll have to see. But I thought this was a pretty good movie. The next film is another Rob Zombie film, and it's 31. I didn't enjoy this film at all. Really had a hard time with this one. This is about these like carnival workers that are driving around, but they get kidnapped and taken to like this warehouse where it's a bit like Saw crossed with the Running Man. They're like hunted down by these characters and killed off, and the whole thing is overseen by Malcolm McDowell. But what I didn't like about this film is it has absolutely no story. There's no reason for anything happening. There's no explanation. There's no conclusion. There's just no rhyme or reason or any kind of narrative into why anything is going on, and I really didn't like that. I've never seen a film with so little storyline, and also the characters in it, the killers in it, are really not very threatening. They're kind of more annoying than anything else. So no, really didn't like this one. Sorry Rob Zombie, but this one was terrible. Next movie is American Mary, and I really enjoyed this one. This one's a bit more of an indie type film. It's about this medical student who gets into the underground world of plastic surgery and amputation and things like that. Really interesting story. It's got the girl from Ginger Snaps in it. I've not seen her since she did Ginger Snaps, but she's fantastic in this film. I forget her name now. But yeah, I thought American Mary was good. Really good movie. Right, next movie is Anguish. This is one of about 9 or 10 films that Sean Blue Digital sent me this month. Thank you again, Sean. And Anguish was a really interesting film. It starts out, it's about this like serial killer who kills people and cuts out their eyes. But then about halfway through the film, it actually reveals that we're watching this story on a movie screen with a theatre full of moviegoers. And the events in the film about the serial killer start to affect the audience and what goes on in the cinema. It's a really, really unique film that kind of really turns things around on itself. I was not expecting this film to play out the way it did. At times it's a little bit confusing and even a little bit mind-bending because it really throws you off and you don't quite know what's going on. But like I say, a really unique concept. I think this film's quite underrated in just how original and how much it deviates from a regular film, if you will. So yeah, I enjoyed Anguish. Was not what I was expecting at all. The next movie is Backcountry. The film to put you off hiking and camping forever. So this is about a couple who, for most of the film, they're just kind of lost in the woods. But eventually they realise that they're being stalked and chased by a killer bear. Pretty decent movie, very creepy and very tense. The one thing I didn't like about this film was I didn't like the two characters. They're quite douchey, the pair of them, so I wasn't really rooting for them. But I really like the killer bear aspect. And this has a horrific bear attack. If you think the one in The Revenant is bad with Leonardo DiCaprio, this one is brutal, really quite shocking. So that was really good. So overall, pretty decent film. The next movie is the Belko Experiment. I've not had a chance to watch this, but I'm looking forward to doing so. Next movie, this is from Sean Blue Digital, as were the last couple. This is an upgrade for me. So this is the Scream Factory Blu-ray of Black Christmas. Sean asked me if I had this. I just have a bare bones DVD for Black Christmas, so when he said he had a spare copy of this, I was really happy to receive it. So nice to get the Scream Factory Blu-ray, and I'll be checking this movie out again in December, I'm sure. So that's that one. The next one from Vinegar Syndrome is Bloodbeat. Not had a chance to watch this one yet. Don't really know too much about it. I saw when Vinegar Syndrome originally bought it out, but I've not picked it up until now. So just saw this cheap online somewhere and picked it up. So I'll check this out in the next few days. Next movie from Scream Factory, one I've been wanting to see for a while, and that's The Boy Who Cried Werewolf. Don't know too much about it. I'm not sure if it was originally a TV movie or something like that, but it's only like a PG-rated horror film. Nothing too extreme, but it just looks like it's got a little bit of charm to it. So I'm looking forward to checking this one out at some point soon. So that's The Boy Who Cried Werewolf. Right, next thing I picked up is The Colour Out of Space. This one I'm really looking forward to checking out. I've heard lots of good things about this one. I want to watch it, but I'm actually holding off because I have a friend who's a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft, and we watch a lot of movies together. So when this lockdown situation's finished, he's going to come round and we're going to watch this and see what it's like. So I'm just holding off watching this one for now, and I'll look forward to seeing this when things ease up in terms of lockdown. But looks like a great film, looks really interesting. Next movie, another one from Scream Factory, is Contamination 7. Not seen this one, only just recently came across this one, but it looks right up my street. From what I understand, people are dumping toxic waste and it creates like killer trees and things like that. So for some reason I love toxic waste and the creatures that it creates. So I'm hoping this one will be a good one. Next up from Scream Factory again is Curse of the Werewolf, a really awesome Hammer movie. I have got this in a box set somewhere, and although I don't like to double dip on films, I do like to own individual releases of the movies. So really happy to pick this one up. Watched it again this month and it holds up really well. The werewolf isn't in it until right at the end, unfortunately, but it's just a really good storyline. Great performances from Oliver Reed and everyone else that's in it. So really happy to get an individual release of Curse of the Werewolf. Next up is Death Dream. Reviewed this on my channel this month, so feel free to check out this review. Absolutely fantastic film. One of the best movies that I've got this month. Really enjoyed Death Dream. Next up from Severin is Death Warmed Up. Haven't had a chance to check this out yet. Looks and sounds really good. Didn't get the slipcover for this one, but to be honest, I prefer the artwork on the actual case rather than the slipcover that they did. So that's fine by me. But I'll be checking this one out soon, I'm sure. Right, next movie is Don't Knock Twice. This one I really enjoyed. This one seems to get a lot of hate, but I enjoyed it. It's quite a gloomy film. I don't know if people struggled with that, but I thought it added to it. I think this is filmed in Ireland, and it's about the ghost of this witch who, if you knock on her door, you awaken a spirit and she haunts you. And this young teenage girl happens to do that. At the same time, she moves in with her estranged mum, and so then the pair of them have to deal with this evil witch. It's not particularly original in any sense. It's all quite derived, but it had some effective jump scenes and things like that. I really liked it. The next movie is Door to the Other Side. Just saw this recently. Haven't watched it yet. Just got it in recently, so don't really have anything to say about this one yet. Hopefully it'll be pretty decent. Right, next movie from Shriek Show, old Shriek Show DVD, is Flesh for the Beast. didn't really care for this one too much. Really not a great film, unfortunately, guys. Got some decent gore effects, but that's about it, really. Right, next movie. Showed it earlier in the month. It's the Golem, because this is actually the oldest movie in my collection at 100 years old. I did get a lot of people asking me to let them know what I thought of this, and I just haven't had time to do a review. Apologies. But I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was fantastic. I think if you don't like silent cinema, this probably won't be for you. This probably isn't going to change your mind on anything. But if you think you can get some enjoyment out of a silent German film from the 20s, definitely check this one out. It's a wonderful film. It has a great storyline. It's said to have been the precursor for Frankenstein, which I can totally see. And the restoration, the transfer that Kino have done on this movie is fantastic. It almost looks like it's a modern film just dressed up as a 1920s picture. Really, really impressive transfer. So if you're into really old films, I highly recommend The Golem. I really enjoyed it. Right, the next movie is Gorgo. So this one, I think this is a British film. I think this is Britain having a go at like kaiju type Godzilla movies, and I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a great film. The Gorgo monster itself gets lots of screen time, which is the most important thing for me in a monster movie. And the scenes at the end where he's destroying London are really quite intense. So yeah, really enjoyed Gorgo. Happy to pick that one up. Next movie from Code Red is Headhunter, which has this amazing cover. This cover really harks back to the old VHS covers that I used to see. Unfortunately, the cover art is probably the best thing about Headhunter. It's a real mild affair, not a lot going on in it. It's actually more of like a detective movie than horror. These two detectives are on the track of this serial killer who's kind of linked to like voodoo, black magic kind of thing, but very, very, very light on the horror. Quite disappointed in that respect, but yeah, it is what it is. So that's Headhunter. Next movie is The House on Cuckoo Lane. Don't know much about this one, just picked it up. It looks good, it sounds great from the write-up on the back, but it is from Wild Eye, so never know what the quality is going to be like for these movies, but I'll give it a chance. Hopefully it'll be alright. Right, next film is The Innkeepers. This is a really interesting film. I really enjoyed it. It gets mixed reviews because it's a very slow film. It's a ghost story about these two employees working in this kind of like dilapidated hotel, which is haunted. But there's very, very little goes on in the film. It's mainly those two just talking and bantering to each other in this supposedly haunted hotel. So I can see why people don't like it. I actually really enjoyed it because of how little goes on in it. It actually made it a lot more realistic than just like one spooky setup after another. It does get a lot more intense in the last sort of 15-20 minutes, and the ending is really, really scary. So if you're okay with kind of slow burn, kind of character driven things with not much going on, check this one out. But it is a very slow film, but I really enjoyed it. Okay. Next movie I picked up is the original Invisible Man. I'd actually never seen this. This is the only one of the classic Universal monsters that I'd never seen all the way through. And with the new movie coming out soon, I wanted to see the original. And I really enjoyed it. I liked the story. I don't think it was as strong as some of the others, like Frankenstein and that kind of thing, but really cool film. And the, I guess, call them digital effects for the time are fantastic. The effects in this still hold up really well, and for a film from 1933, I think, that is really impressive. Still very convincing digital effects in terms of the Invisible Man and him taking his garments off and things like that. Really impressed with that. So thoroughly enjoyed the Invisible Man. Looking forward to seeing the new one. Next movie is Killers Within. This was another interesting one. I think this was an Irish film as well. And it's about these... this family, the kid gets kidnapped or something. So, in order to get the ransom money, they hold hostage this rich family. But the rich family aren't all who they appear to be. They're like these kind of lizard monster people. Really cool premise. A bit misguided in terms of the moral aspects of the characters. It was hard to root for anyone really, because even the people that are being killed off are kidnapping people. So yeah, a little bit strange there. But I enjoyed the film. It was quite original, quite different, and although it was like people horror, it had the monster aspect as well. So that really worked for me. So I enjoyed this movie. Right. Okay. Next thing I picked up from Scream Factory is The Legend of Hell House. I've never seen this before. I've heard it's really good. Heard it's one of the seminal haunted house movies, so I'll be giving this a watch soon, checking out what it's like. Next movie is The Neon Demon. Haven't had a chance to watch this one yet, but looking forward to doing so. Looks like a really interesting movie. Don't know too much about it, and I'm going to try and... I don't like to know too much. I think most of the time it's better to go in not knowing much and then hopefully being surprised. Next film from Synapse is Night of Death. This was a strange one, but pretty good. This is a French film about this young woman who starts to work in like this old people's home, really picturesque kind of place. But unbeknownst to her, they are like part of this blood cult who kill the young women that work there and feast on their guts and things like that. As I was watching it, I was thinking it's like Rosemary's Baby crossed with Blood Feast. Imagine if Herschel Gordon-Lewis directed Rosemary's Baby. This would be the result. So, if you think that sounds appealing, check out Night of Death. I thought it was alright. Right, next movie is a Paul Naschy film, and it's Night of the Werewolf. I've been wanting to get this for a long time, but this DVD is always really expensive, but managed to find it cheap, so jumped on it and finally picked it up. Haven't watched it yet, but really looking forward to doing so. That is Night of the Werewolf. Next movie from Scream Factory again. Been a good month for Scream Factory. Is the 1979 remake of Nosferatu with Klaus Kinski, and I really enjoyed this, thoroughly enjoyed this film. Very beautiful movie, wonderful locations, they make great use of the sets and the atmosphere. The performance from Klaus Kinski, even under all that makeup, is amazing. And yeah, one of the best remakes I've seen in terms of modernising the film and adding to it and doing it right. Really, really excellent film. Very beautiful as well. So really happy to finally check out Nosferatu. The next thing I picked up from Arrow is the Phantasm Collection. So this has all 5 movies. I have a scattering of Phantasm movies in the collection. I have part 1, 2 and 3 randomly. So I've been meaning to fill the gaps, but I thought just get rid of the DVDs and we'll pick up the Blu-ray set from Arrow. And this is a really nice set. Really happy to get this. I know a lot of people got the Sphere box set, but I wouldn't have anywhere to put that on the shelf. So as nice as that is, it would be a bit wasted on me. So really happy that Arrow have released these in the Amaray cases. And looking forward to watching Phantasm Ravager, because I've never seen that. That's the latest one from like 2016. So, yep, that's all the Phantasm movies on Blu-ray. Right, next movie from Wild Eye is Poltergeist Encounters. Wild Eye again, so I'm not sure what to expect from this. I imagine they're going off like Grave Encounters. It's going to be that kind of thing. So, hopefully it'll be pretty cool. You just never know with that company. Next movie is Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. Really looking forward to checking this one out. I've heard really good stuff. Heard this has really inventive kills and things like that. So that would be cool to see. I'll have to give this one a watch. This one a watch soon. See what it's like. Okay, the next thing I picked up is the Thor Collection. So, I'm not the biggest fan of Saw. I didn't even know how many there were until recently. I think this has got Saw 1 to 7 in, and then I have Jigsaw separately anyway. So, I think that's all the Saw movies in the collection now. Like I say, I'm not too fussed about these films, but I just wanted to own them for the collection. So, that is all of them. Yeah. Right, next film is Sector 7. This was a pretty cool film. This is these people working on an oil rig, and they're attacked by like this sea monster thing. Very CGI heavy, but I enjoyed it. It reminded me a lot of like Deep Rising, but on an oil rig. So, pretty cool stuff. Right, next movie, again from Wild Eye, is Shark Exorcist. Pretty terrible movie, pretty awful film actually. I got some enjoyment out of it. I was able to scrape a bit of entertainment from this film, but really terrible, shoddily made movie. Don't be fooled by these covers from Wild Eye. They do some amazing covers, which is credit to them. I love cool covers, but they represent absolutely nothing that happens in Wild Eye movies. So, yeah. Right, next film. This is from SRS, so this will probably be really low budget. This is, I think it's Sinister or Sinistre. I don't really know. Don't know too much about it. Just picked it up because it was really cheap and it's like a limited edition 2-disc set. So I thought I'd get that. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'll check it out at some point and see what it's like. If it's from SRS, it's usually shot on video, real low budget trash. So that's what I'm expecting. Right, next movie is The Skeleton Key. So I have a friend at work, Martin, who's always telling me to watch this movie. So Martin finally picked it up, watched it and really enjoyed it. So thank you for that recommendation. That was a cool film. Next movie is Species: The Awakening, which is part 4. Just picked this up because I now have all 4 Species films. And all 4 of them pretty good. I was surprised with how good number 3 was. This one's not as good, but it was enjoyable. It was entertaining. So that's all the Species movies. Next movie is another Paul Naschy one, Vengeance of the Zombies. This is another one that I've always wanted to get, along with Night of the Werewolf. And there was a company selling both of these for really, really cheap. I don't know where they got them from. But they're both pristine condition in the slipcase, so finally happy to get Vengeance of the Zombies as well. Haven't watched this one yet. I'll probably watch this with a double feature along with Night of the Werewolf. So that is that one. Next movie from Scream Factory is Warning Sign. And this one, I've wanted to see this film for years. I saw a trailer for this a long time ago. I don't usually watch horror trailers. I find that they tend to give things away. They give deaths away and things like that. But I happened to see a trailer for this many years ago and was really intrigued by it. Thought it looked really interesting, and just I'm finally getting around to buying it and watching it. Watched it the other day and I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a good film about a breakout in this laboratory and the actions that are taken to seal it off. And the first half of the film is quite procedural, so like the local guard gets involved in the police and they're just working through contingency measures to sort out this breakout that's happening. But by the second half of the film, the people that are trapped in the lab turn into like axe-wielding maniacs, so it really does step it up in terms of the horror. But I really like Warning Sign. I'd recommend that one. Right, nearly there. Next movie I've got is Were, as in werewolf. It is a werewolf film. This was a great movie. I really like this. It's kind of part real film and part found footage. But it's about this family that are killed in France. And they're either killed, the police can't decide if it's like an animal or like a super strong guy that's killed them. And they arrest this big guy who they think's done it, and this woman is sent in to be his attorney, She doesn't think he's done it. There's lots of evidence to suggest he hasn't done it, but then later in the film she realizes he's actually a werewolf. So yeah, that's the crux of the story. Really good movie. I recommend Where. It was really well done. Next film, this is another old Shriek show, and it's Werewolf Woman. Another one that I enjoyed. Not really a werewolf film. She turns into a bit of a werewolf at the beginning, but then the rest of the film is just like about her going crazy and losing her sanity. Pretty good film. Very sleazy, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. That's that one. And the last movie is White Zombie with Bela Lugosi from the 30s. This takes place on this island where there's like voodoo and black magic and things like that. I thought it was okay. It wasn't great. Didn't entirely reel me in, if you will, but it passed the time and I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, so that is everything that I've got in May. So feel free to let me know if there's any that you like, any that you don't like. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.